And I tell people I don't scrapbook, I don't quilt, I don't garden, I shoe. Shooping is my hobby. And my license plate actually on my car is I shoe.
Hey, everybody. It's Diane Gilman, formerly known as the Queen of Jeans, but now the proud host of my podcast, Fashion Thursdays with Diane. And what are we doing today with fashion? Well, you may not have heard this before, but we are going shopping. What? What, Diane? What is that? Shoe shopping. Of course. With someone who just happens to be as obsessed with shoes as I am, Jennifer DiVita. And she has got an incredible book out called Not Your Shoe Size. It is novel form. And it's all about two best friends who go in very divergent directions during their lives with fashion and the shoes they wear per decade. Jennifer, this couldn't be more perfect. I am so obsessed with shoes. And I was just telling Jennifer, I decided that natural color flax and linen was going to be my thing for spring into summer. And of course, I saw a loafer, because I can't wear high heels anymore, bum knee, that were natural linen and leather with gold metal trim. And that led to buying a handbag that was natural, burlappy linen, and you guessed it, brown leather and gold. And that led into this scarf, which has every status symbol on it, the horse bit, the Gucci G, the this and that, but is natural colored. So I tend to do that. But I'll tell you what, I think your novel is so fascinating because truthfully, honestly, I think shoes so define our personalities per decade. So talk to me about the two characters in this and let our audience know briefly what brought you to write this. And yeah, you'll love me. If you came to my apartment in New York, I took a giant walk-in closet and made it 100% shoes. And I've run out of space because I'm never going to give one of those shoes up. I am such a hoarder. Anywho, Jennifer, the book is so entertaining, not your shoe size. And I love where you say it's a novel about acting your age, fashion-wise, or not.
Or not.
So, yes. So tell us.
Well, Diane, I feel like we're soul sisters, right? Because
Totally. As in SOLE.
right.
Totally.
I love shoes, and that was part of the reason why I wrote the book. There's so many different angles to how I came about doing this. The first, as we talk about aging in life, the shoes really tell the story of life, whether it's the stage of life, whether it's the stage of life that we're in, or it's just, because of having surgery when we can't wear the heels anymore, or we just get to the point where we're like, you know what, I don't even want to. They're not comfortable. I want to be comfortable in sneakers. And so they do really tell the story of life and the different phases of life that we go through.
I agree. And I was telling you that from the time I was tiny, I was obsessed with footwear. And I remember you had to go to a shoe store and they had some measuring machines that measured your foot, and you had to go inside of that and get your foot measured. And then they brought stuff out. And I wanted black patent leather. I was getting Mary Jane. So I had to have been about 5, 6 years old, 7 years old tops. And so I fought for it and I fought for it and I got the black patent Mary Janes. And then you're supposed to wear them with white little lacy socks. And I was not a good girl. And I was definitely a little fashionista. So we were going to temple every Sunday. I walk in, I immediately excuse myself, go to the ladies' room, rip the white socks off, because the daring thing to do was wear your black Mary Janes without socks. But the scandalous thing was that I wanted black patent leather, and little boys could look up your skirt from your looking at the reflection from the black patent leather, which I tested but never verified. But boy, did I get in trouble for that. And the trouble just went on and on because I couldn't have enough shoes in my closet. So how about you? Did it start young?
Yeah, and isn't that something that you have that memory of being like 5 or 6 years old? Because I'm certain that we all have a memory of shoes when we were little girls. Because I remember my mom having the most fabulous heels. And I would say to her, Mom, when I grow up, I want your shoes. And she would laugh and she'd say, No, you won't, because they're going to be out of style. And I'm like, I want your shoes. And I remember being so obsessed with her shoes and thinking that I would have them when I got to be an adult because they were so fabulous when I was a kid. But of course,
And you know,
I didn't
you
want them because the styles change and they go out of fashion and then you get your
but
own shoes.
still, yeah, my mother always, to your point, and I didn't even think about this. Yikes! You know that old saying, "You are your mother's child. You are your mother's daughter." So, my mother was always stylish, but I never. I was much more of a rebel in terms of my style. But now that you bring this up, my mother used to go out and get custom made crocodile high heels and a custom made crocodile top handle handbag to go with it. And here I am just yesterday putting together a linen and leather purse with a linen and leather shoe with another accessory, a scarf. And that is just crazy. But, out of everything my mother wore, actually my favorite items that she owned were her heels, because she always did them in like luxury exotics. And I remember a pair she had that were ruby red. And it always reminded me of Dorothy with the red sequin. And they were really like the same heel height and everything. The sequined, fabulous, magic Dorothy slippers from The Wizard of Oz.
Absolutely.
Unbelievable. So, talk about the characters in your novel and how you're friends for life, but your divergence is through fashion.
So the two characters, Julie and Colette, have very opposing views on how to age well in an ageist society. And I always use shoes when I'm doing my demonstration. So, like, this is Colette. This is the Colette shoe. And she is all about chasing the elusive fountain of youth, wearing the highest stilettos she can possibly find. And she refuses to age, she refuses to grow old. And the character Julia, then she's more of the vanilla girl. She is a simpleton. She's not glamorous. She feels totally okay wearing, whatever she wants. She embraces her gray hair, her wrinkles, her crow's feet, her geriatric sneakers, and so the two women grow up together as best friends. And the chapters start with the age of them at the age of 10. Each chapter is a decade of their life, and it goes through the phases of life with, of course, the shoes and the phases of life that they go through wearing the shoes. And they have a lot to learn from each other because they have these very opposing views on how to age well, but they're still learning from each other along the way. And despite their very polarizing views on how to age, whether you embrace your age or defy your age, they're very loyal and devoted to each other.
So, you and I were speaking, and I said, and I did go out, I did buy some Birkenstocks. I just can't do it. I can't. I tried. I wanted to be all granola. I wanted to be all natural. And two things I don't get. I get them, but I don't get them. Birkenstocks, I get Birkenstocks actually more than Crocs, which here in the Northeast have been, suburban Northeast, have been unbelievable in taking over not only women, but children and men. I know so many men that have Crocs, and I'm thinking to myself, what am I missing here? How about you? How do you feel about those kind of trends that are sort of anti sexy and very much part of being a group? If you are a certain type, you're going to go for Crocs. If you're another type, you're going to go for Birkenstocks. If you're somebody like me, you're going to go for Giuseppe's and OT, jeweled thong sandals. But how do you feel about Birkenstocks and Crocs as a woman who truly loves shoes?
So I feel like for me, that's not
Yeah.
something I would wear, but I never try to exert my opinion on what other people find as fashionable.
But
Some
for
people love
you,
it, but for me, not at all. I mean, you can tell, I
what
mean,
would
I'm the
you be
glamour girl. I've got the
wearing
sequin top on right
instead?
now. I've got the sequin red shoes. So I'm more about the glamorous and the high heels and the stilettos.
And you can still do it. I was wearing stilettos, 6-inch Jimmy Choo pumps on air, which make you look so good. Um, Almost up until the time at 72 that I had to go in for breast cancer treatment. And then that just, the whole era of heels kind of ended, which was really, really tragic for me. Because for me, I'm not that tall. I'm only 5'4". It gave me height. It took a good 20 pounds off your frame visually. And I thought, oh my God, so part of old age has to be you can't cheat anymore. Because I really think that a pair of heels has such a enriched statement to it. You're still going. You've got energy. You're still feminine. You're still sexy. You still care. Well, I'm all those things, but I just can't wear them anymore. So I'm in JP Todd loafers. I'm doing the best I can. But yeah, that was a big demarcation of aging for me. Honestly, Jennifer, that I had to come down to wearing flats all the time.
Those are the highs and flats of life, right? We go through highs and lows. I call them highs and flats.
You're right. And, honestly, because I'm almost 79, we were never even allowed to wear sneakers to school. I mean, there was no such thing as fashion sneakers until what, 15, 18 years ago. But thank God they're here because now I can be wearing like Balenciaga sock sneakers and get a little bit of height, and they look kind of cool and ultra modern. And so, do you find that you express a lot of your personality and what you want to get across to the public? Because after all, you are on television as a TV lifestyle co host. And do you feel that shoes are your expression to society of how you're feeling in this particular decade or moment?
Yeah, absolutely. Every decade has had its own defining moment of shoes. And I love shoes so much that when I go out in public, people just almost assume that I'm going to be wearing like a fabulous pair of shoes because now it's become part of my personal and brand identity. And so it's almost expected that I wear like fabulous shoes. And so I have, like you said, you have a closet that is just dedicated to shoes. I have the same thing. I have a shoe room. And it really, to me, it's like a work of art. I have such, I mean, some of them are so beautiful that they just literally, to me, like speak to me and they feel like art. So, like you said, you're not getting rid of them. Just because you're not wearing them doesn't mean you're getting rid of them. That's how I feel too. I have this collection. I just enjoy looking at it.
Yeah, it is like an art collection. You're right. And I display them. And I have some now. Like Gucci came out with a sneaker, but it had to be about 7 or 8 years ago, that had elastic bands, a big chunky baguette diamonds that went across it. You kind of had to put it on and then put the diamond bands on like a harness. And that was the beginning of the real outrageousness. And then I remember that brands that would ordinarily never do a sneaker, like even Christian Louboutin, they were forced to do it. It was just too strong a trend. But when I think of trends that are, number one, great investments, and second of all, kind of speak to where you are in life, I think fashion sneakers are fabulous, and they give you a chance to be comfortable and be active and be really fashionable at the same time, and really be a little fashion forward. Oh yeah.
Like
Oh,
this.
I am just loving. They're fantastic. And I got the original Balenciaga sock sneakers. I now get them off Amazon for $19.99 in all these outrageous colors. But for an older woman like me who can't wear heels anymore, it's devastating if you don't have something that looks fashion forward and makes a statement for you, like you're still in the game, but you're fashionable at the same time. And I wonder, if we asked 1,000 women in a room, do you love shoes? How many do you think would say yes? I would say 1,000, but
I would say probably 85% because I know people that are like, I could care less about shoes. They have 5 pair and one.
no,
I
5
know.
pair.
I know. I mean,
How
seriously.
could
So
that be?
I would say probably 85% of women love shoes. The other 15% are like, they don't have the time. They don't care, right? They wear the same shoes every day. But that
So
85% are
I,
loyal to shoes.
very interestingly, I understand that. I joined a couple of women's clubs in New York, and they're older women, so it's sort of age appropriate for me. But they're still living around 1950 when it comes to style. Not only do a lot of them not care about style, fine, but you are not allowed to wear sneakers into the club. And even if they're fashion sneakers, and even if they're from a European couture brand like Valentino, they put it right there in the bylaws. You will be escorted out of the club and you must go home and change. Yikes. So, what are your favorite shoe styles right now?
I always say when people ask me what my favorite shoes are, the next pair. Those
Oh
are my
my God, you're so bad. Oh my God. So you're still wearing heels. What are a couple of your favorite brands?
Uh, my top favorite brand is Christian Louboutin. Absolutely love those. I was in Spain recently and went shopping there and came home with the most fabulous pair of leopard print heels that are so comfortable that I think they're more comfortable than flats that I wear. And
Wow.
yeah, I love Christian Louboutin. I just think that the attention to detail, and I love the red bottoms, right? So, yes.
And I love the statement and I love the quality. And then interestingly enough, because I'm not only older than you, but probably older than every woman in America, I just bought a pair of cowhide fur leopard printed loafers from Todd's that, of course, they're flats. They're a driving loafer with all the little rubber things at the bottom. And I just loved the leopard print. And I love wearing leopard print with maybe a bright mint green or a bright Barbie pink cashmere sweater for spring and a pair of jeans.
Well, and like you
I
were saying, you like to accessorize, and I think shoes can be that accessory, right?
I do too.
Yes, I mean, especially you with your famed jeans, right? You can wear denim and a white shirt, as you mentioned, with your fabulous Gucci scarf, and have a rock star pair of shoes, and that's all you need.
Yeah,
So I think
that's
shoe
all you need. I
accessory
think
itself.
I think also as a fashionista that there was a long period of time where the handbag was the major feature item. And you sort of revolved your outfit around the handbag. But now I think it's the shoe because I think so many of us, as we age, have to kind of phase out on the super high heeled pump. You're almost forced to get, well, I'd like to say that, so I have an excuse for spending the money, but you're almost forced, right? Oh, I was forced to get a new shoe wardrobe, but I kind of was because I have knee issues. And, I want, if it can't be a pump anymore or a high heeled sandal, then I want it to still be a strong statement of how I feel about the season, who I am, what the rest of my wardrobe is about. It's amazing that how we cover our feet, there goes the outfit, right?
Yes. And it was slippers during the pandemic, right? So that was, I think, what everybody pretty much wore, and I did too. And so it took me a little time to kind of build back up again because I was very comfortable wearing my slippers on a daily basis. And then once the pandemic was over and I had to go back to like the real world, I'm like, that means I'm back in heels. And I felt like when I started wearing them, my feet were killing me because they weren't used to it. So I had to kind of work back into wearing heels.
Yeah, and I think too, I super appreciated, but I wasn't as comfortable as you during the pandemic because they closed down the HSN and QVC TV studios. Obviously, um, we had to do all our shows from home, and you still had to wear the heels because they wanted a full body shot. So it was kind of schizophrenic, You're doing your shows, you're walking around in your own house, worried about your good wood floors in these stiletto heels. And then the minute the show is over and the camera's off of you, you're ripping off those heels and putting on those slippers. But I think what the pandemic taught us shoe wise was there's room for everything and don't discount how wonderful comfort can be. And I'm honestly not bashing Birkenstocks or Crocs. The real deal for me is I didn't find them that comfortable. And that was all part of it. Everyone said, "Oh, you're going to just love this and it's going to be so comfortable." You kind of have to let them kick in on you, but they never kicked in on me. And it was like, I don't like the way they look. I don't like the message they give. And on top of it all, they're like torture. So, I'm wondering what's next. Fashion sneakers, brilliant invention and brought in all of the casual wear, which is great for me because I love wearing jeans and dressing them up or dressing them down. I like the fact that classic loafers are back and Gucci brought those back and JP Todd's look absolutely terrific as a collection. But what do you think is next? I would have never been able to forecast sock sneakers. That was a technological advance in shoemaking that was truly impressive.
Yeah.
Jennifer, what's next for us?
Well, in my book, at the end of the book, Colette is so confident in her skin that she ends up wearing two different shoes because she's like, you know what? I'm going out in style and I'm going to wear two different shoes. And there's a shoe line that I kind of just recently fell upon that
Oh,
makes two different style. Like the shoes are different from each other. They match, but they're different. So one might be like a queen of spade and the other one might be a king of hearts. And so the shoes are a pair, but they also are different from each other. And
my
so
God, how cool. Who is it?
Hot Chocolate is the brand. Yes, and so I actually got I got a pair of Marie Antoinette shoes, and
Oh,
they're, they're so sweet because they're, like, pink and pastels, but one shoe has, like, a picture of Marie Antoinette, and the other one has a cake, and so they're like, they match, but they're different.
God.
I
Oh,
know,
my
they're
God.
so in the story, in my book, Not Your Shoe Size, I did that with Colette, but she takes it to the next step, no pun intended, or maybe pun intended. She takes it to the next step because she then has, like, a red puff shoe, and then she also has like like a leopard print shoe that she wears out. So, very different because she's like, "I don't care anymore." She has such a confidence in herself that she's like, "I don't have to impress anybody."
But that does shows who shoes. And by the way, that trend of not matching really began with jewelry and earrings. And one earring wouldn't match the other. It would be an unmatched set. And I always thought, wow, that's so original. But coming out in shoes, I think that's fantastic. So, are you wearing your Marie Antoinettes for your possible upcoming wedding? That sounds like a wedding shoe to me.
No, I have oh my gosh, I wish that I had my closet right here with me. I should go grab these shoes. So I found I was in Las Vegas and I found the most fabulous pair of shoes, and I have, like, a miniature version of them. This is the miniature version. Mine look like this, and so it's like velvet purple, and then all of the straps that go up your calves are, like rhinestones, and so this is a miniature version of the shoe,
Wow.
and so my dress is all rhinestones, and so it kinda matches the dress, and so, yes, that's what I'm wearing for my upcoming wedding, but I wish I had them right here in front of me. I could go get them, but they're not in this room.
It's okay. I think we got the picture. They're uber glamorous and they're ultra high and they're every woman's dream. Oh my gosh. I just love that. Well, Jennifer DiVita, you are a one of a kind. And I love the whole premise of your book, Not Your Shoe Size, a novel about acting your age, or rather, maybe even dressing your age, or not. And you know what? It's all part of shopping, which is shoe shopping abbreviated. I'm going to use that word shopping from now on and forever. I love that because and can I ask you one final question? Honestly, the truth. I will always say to myself, okay, Diane, rake, you've got to rein in on yourself. You don't need any more shoes. And then go ahead and buy another pair of shoes. Do you do that with yourself too? Or do you always say, yeah, you know what? Life is short. I'll take another pair, please.
I do go through those ebbs and flows because, as my fiance always says, it's like you can only wear one pair of shoes at a time. And every time you buy another pair of shoes, it prevents you from wearing the other ones that you have. And how do you compete with all of your favorites, right? So you
That's
have your
hilarious.
favorites, and then you bring another pair in, and then you're like, well, I can't wear my favorites as much now because I have this pair. And that's why I say, my favorite pair of shoes is the next one. But I do the ebb and flows. Plus, I run out of shelf space in my shoe closet. So that's the other problem that I have. And then I have to get rid of something. And I don't have
Yes,
to get rid of.
yes. And I don't know what to get rid of. And I don't want really to get rid of them. And the other thing is, and I wonder, we'll just end the program on this note. Um, do you find that a lot of your shoes hold really precious memories? Like you've got a shoe and I was like, oh, that's when I met my fiance. And oh, that's when I went to my child's graduation, or, oh, that's when I went to my favorite restaurant in Greece. Or, I mean, do shoes hold memories for you that make them more valuable than their market value would ever be?
Absolutely. Yeah, there are shoes that I've had for, gosh, I mean, a decade or longer because I don't want to get rid of them because they do have meaning to me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me too. And I honestly arrange them in my closet. It's crazy. Sometimes I want to arrange them by heel height. Sometimes I want to arrange them by color. Sometimes I want to arrange them by brand.
And then you got
But,
the seasons too, right? Then you've got
oh, and
seasons.
seasons.
Yes.
Of course, who could forget seasons? Yeah, let me tell you what. I was thinking, honestly, of starting Shoeaholics Anonymous.
I I would be your first member. I joke with people and I tell people I don't scrapbook, I don't quilt, I don't garden, I shoe. Shooping is
Yeah,
my hobby, and my
yeah,
license
me
plate actually on my car is I shoe.
too. Well, shipping is a whole new deal to me. I love it. It's got an official name now. You're going to love Jennifer's book, Not Your Shoe Size. Jennifer DiVita, a true shoeanista. If I ever met one, Jennifer, thank you so much. This was
Thank you, Diane.
really fun.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to Too Young to Be Old podcast. The episode may be over, but the fun doesn't have to stop here. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at The Diane Gilman, or visit our website, thedianegilman.com. If you like the show, leave us a rating or a review and subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. And until then, don't forget, age is just a number. Together, we'll prove that we are all too young to be old.